Uh, Stop here. Sit your ass down. Stay the fuck plugged in. God damn it. See, desktop, desktop. OBS got a new update. Am I gonna see? OBS got a new update, a new UI. Looks pretty good. Let me see. It's very clean. Oh, that's weird. What did I just do? Shh. View stats. Docs. Stream. Yeah. Got it. It's like slap you in there. Why does it not? Oh, because that's the. Okay. All right. That makes sense. Let's see. What the fuck am I doing? Oh, this guy. I am indeed. I would love all of that experience. '76, 71, 84. Nice. To show me what you found. Need to go to Legends Guild, so of course. Why'd you place me over there? Tell you what, I am one tired person. I have not been sleeping well at all. What do I want to put this in? Smithing, I guess. Damn, really? Uh, let's see. Go to the bank. Oh, wait. Let's see. Story you. No, I want to posit you. Give me all that. That's annoying. Sounds about right. Let's see. Got so much fucking steel bars to smith. That's annoying. Settings, warnings, teleports, tablets, items, confirmations. I kind of want to play some Elden Ring. Play the new update, but I don't have a lot of stuff invested in weapons. Money. All right, let's see. I need to go to the um, hierarchy hideout. OSRS XP reward update. I don't know why I put a period. News hub. Who the fuck are the NPCs? I don't give a shit about this. Oh, okay. I still need to do this quest, the Exiles quest. Purdue, Dairo, Purdue. I haven't done this quest because I really don't feel like doing this quest. Purdue. Oh, that's not at all where I thought it was. Okay. Teleport. That's not what I fucking wanted to do. Well, it's right there. Duh. Ivan? Fuck is Ivan? Oh, come on. Oh, the bitch. It's exactly what I thought it was. Hopefully, everyone's doing well today or yesterday or the day before that. That also works. Um, it's an armor piece. Excuse me. I hate how fucking none of this organization makes any sense whatsoever. Noble outfit, and then I need to uh, you burn to rot. Mireditch. Because this isn't annoying at all. Jamplex. Chill and Kenshi acceptable. It better be acceptable. I'm tired as shit. Get over here. Stupid. Send me to the mines. Okay. Mines. Go here. Then here. Then around this building to here. And then in. And then where? And then up and over. Yep. No, I ha- have fun getting back there. What the fuck does that mean? Are the only two living descendants? Ivan is one of the few remaining. Following the quests. Under the trapdoor. In the motherfucker. No, I've never played Dwarf Fortress. I hear it's pretty good. Coco's on a Dwarf Fortress kick right now. In South Mireditch. Just down here. Just down here. Is it? I haven't used my mic in a while, so who knows how good the quality is. I mean, I think it's close enough. Sorry, I'm putting the pop filter back on. Yeah, I had some shit go down in my life, so I kind of just took a break from everything. What the fuck? Fucking dog. Where the fuck is this house at? It's this house, right? Yes, it is. No, that's yeah. I just was super burned out. Sure. I'll save some money. Nice. Yeah. I was just super fucking burned out. I'm gonna probably just do like the ruin setups today. Well, I'll do some bug fixes first because I got a bunch of bugs I gotta go through. A bunch of let's see, got a bunch of bugs. Check that. What the fuck else was I gonna do? I got on RuneScape to do something, and I did this. Maybe I should do OSRS Christmas event 2022.
Hello everyone.
Loud. God damn it, that hurt.
We are over by teleports to get here. You can use history or you can use the scepter. You do need to keep in mind is you're not allowed anything on your back. So no capes, as Edna Mode once said, no capes. And you don't need any other items. But to get started, we need to speak to Gus Mistletoad. Games, and now we need to speak to, or we need to try and enter the portal. We'll speak to Santa, and
Oh,
we'll do
Santa.
this. Do, 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 do. And all of this, and enter the games option 1. So this first one's really easy. drops on the floor. So option one to start the minigame. So we'll see some piles of coal appear, and then we just need to give them to these random people knocking about the minigame. So when they start falling, we'll start picking up. So the game hasn't started yet. Oh, there we go. Right, pick up the coal. Give coal. Give 40 coal to Bernard. I think we've essentially just got to fill them all up. Oh, there we go. Give coal to Bernard. There we go. There we go. Give 20 coal to Bernard. So it's a real easy little thing. Oh, oh, you got me. Oh no.
Fucking British people, dude. What the fuck? Yeah, I've got to go through uh new weapons dissemination mod and look through all the weapons and see which ones I want to keep and which ones I want to use, and then I got to divide them up by faction, and then I've got to mix some cross faction for trade. I've got to decide on what I want the UC to sell, United Cities to sell. Um, yeah. Back to the portal. Um, I mean, technically, I think the list is already done. Let me see. Someone, yeah, somebody who, who, um, who added, who did this? Gideon Ion did this. He did new weapons dissemination. But I just have to go through, like he did the calculations and stuff. I just have to go through and figure out what the fuck I actually want to do. But yeah, I think for now it'll be the only. Well, I might try and get the lore friendly weapons. But I've also got there's still a lot of stuff to go through. Uh, because not every weapon is going to be craftable or really even appealing to the player. Um, they're more so just for variety. And I think what I want to do is try and match up kind of closely to like stats for certain weapons. So really, what you just have is like visual differences. Um, so like the Shek might make like they'll still use the plank, but they might have like a short sword, and that short sword might be comparable like 1 to 1 to the like regular short sword um, and stuff like that. Or maybe they use like I don't know, spike clubs or something like that. Um, and they're one-to-one comparable to directly to uh, the Spike Club. Me and my friend were going back and forth on Twitter, try trying out because Elon was like the other day he was like bots and trolls come and get me or something like that. And so basically he was testing out like the new back end Twitter update where he was getting rid of like all the bots and stuff like that because Twitter's been plagued by bots forever. And so there were like a bunch of accounts that got through that slipped through the cracks. So he was like, "Oh, we'll have to adjust the algorithm." But me and my friend were like going through this huge tweet thread, just like saying all the trigger words because you used to say stuff like you'd be talking to somebody about like Cash App or PayPal or Venmo or something like that, and you would literally just say like Venmo or PayPal, and you'd get like 50 bots. Um, and so we were trying like all these different trigger words. We were going through and the some of the things were like she was like uh, Elon was like, calling all bots and trolls, please attack me. Cool, the bots are so far unable to swarm to the top of my replies. And then um, she was like, you mean the MetaMask crypto wallet Facebook accounts that banned Instagram shrooms after the BTC Robinhood was hacked by Ethereum Coinbase, those bots? That she was like, also, I need to write an essay homework on how stolen passwords scam the NFT emails help. And I was like, I've always wondered what would happen if somebody hacked me and I needed help, and my Cash App is money giveaway. PayPal and Venmo too. Blockchain technology in the NFT space. OnlyFans top 1%. And then she was like, I read an essay on YouTube banning ayahuasca accounts for smoking on Telegram. Stolen business setup help assignments paid for. My crypto NFTs that I need to buy a shirt with. And the thread just goes on and on and on and on. And then finally we ended it off, and I was like, I can still see a bunch of the, what did I say? I can still see them in the hashtags if you visit them, but the bots not auto responding is pretty amazing. I'm sure some will filter through and we'll get some replies overnight. And um, we actually, each one of us only got one reply each. So, um, significant improvement. I think they bots that target like specific accounts, like any big name like NFT or crypto or whatever accounts, like Binance is the biggest crypto exchange or whatever. Like, I think bots that specifically target Binance or specifically target like the White House or specifically target Elon Musk or whatever, um, those bots will be hard to filter out because they're so easy to set up. Um, but otherwise, the bots that like detect words or hashtags, those seem to be getting filtered out, and that's pretty cool. Twitch has like a whole bunch of new new updates as well. Let's see, it says something to whatever. But yeah. Twitch has some new thing with like guest speaking. So it's like a Twitter space or a Discord. Do I even have do I have a I don't have a stage channel on Discord. Um but so it's like a stage channel or a Twitter space or something like that. Basically you have like your main speaker and then you can have somebody come in as a guest. That's pretty cool. I'm concerned about Elon Musk's connections to China. Well, I mean, to be fair, he made those pretty public. Um, it's cheaper for him. So his complaint was, and the reason he explained him moving to China or moving a bunch of his businesses to China was it's easier to build in China and export in or import in than it is to build in the U.S. and export out. Um, Meaning it's actually cheaper for him to build in China or to build in Germany or to build in like these other countries and then export to like other countries and import into the U.S. Um, so because the tax rates are like wildly different, which to be completely fair is absolutely stupid. Like it's hired at export out. That's not to say that importing in should be any more expensive, but you know, I'm gonna be real though. I think they'll kill him. Like just putting that out there. I genuinely think like people, you know, fuck, maybe the government will kill him, and then it'll just get swept under the rug. You know what I need to do? I need to turn off chat. That way, the little buddies are. I've got to figure out how to make RuneLight um, recordable because it's not recordable as a window. Mm, maybe I should keep chat on because there's a word limit on that or a character limit. This was 184. Okay, so they're Jesus fucking Christ. That's why they dropped. So, I mean, tech, they're being bought more than they're sold. They're usually bought much higher. But this was what, around the last time I played? Oh no, this is 5 minutes. 30 days? Okay, so they're climbing up. This was about the last time I played. Yeah, they were fucking dropping. That shit had me worried. Yeah, they're sold in much higher volumes at a larger rate. Let me know when you're back, um, Ranger. As to your point, yeah, yes and no. As a result, Tesla tech gets stolen. Tesla falls as Chinese EVs rise. China doesn't have the infrastructure to support EVs, so it doesn't matter if they can produce them, um, because they don't have the infrastructure to use them. Um, it's why they want Taiwan so badly, because Taiwan, you know, has such a large impact on the manufacturing of tech, and they have the infrastructure to support it. So and everything gets stolen in China. You know what I mean? Like, you produce a game, Elden Ring. Okay, you produce Elden Ring, and your Bandai Namco. Somebody can just rip it in China. Like Tencent can literally just re-release it in China, and you can't really say anything about it. There's no legal recourse for that. And it's the same in many things. Right. For Elon, it's it's a mm, I mean, in the long term, it might be a loss, but I think overall it it's more a benefit than it is a loss. Also, China wants to kill him now too, so Their fucking state media. their Elon said something in their state media was like, "We will punish you," and he was like, "Okay." Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, the Taiwan tweet. Taiwan is a country. Yeah. Well, I mean, so the reason people keep getting scammed is because the CCP pays well. You have puppets everywhere. Like literally, just go on YouTube and search like China news or something like that, and it's people who live in Britain, people who live in Germany, people who live in you know New Zealand, people who live in Australia, people all over the world, people who live in the U.S., and they have somewhat prominent positions in media and tech journalism and stuff like that. Um, and they get paid a lot to basically be a puppet. But I mean, when your government welds the door to your apartment building shut and you have people crawling down skyscrapers to go and get food that the government threw out because they thought that COVID was on it, you know. There was a video by, oh God, what was it? So the CCP released some video about like satellite farming and how they were using, um, yeah, um, he they released some video about satellite farming, how they had hydrogen powered um, tractors and stuff like that. That's and it was a 3D model, like a mock-up model, like you would use for like advertisers and investors, and nothing wrong with it. But they were saying like this is the actual tractor, and somebody noticed when they did like the breakdown of the tractor in 3D, they noticed a model, like some game developer noticed a model from a asset pack they had bought maybe like a couple weeks prior, and they went on Twitter and they were like, "Look at this video from the CCP," and then look at the asset models that the CCP just basically ripped off the internet and were using in their propaganda. Um, it's hilarious. So realistically, it doesn't really matter where you. I mean, you could technically go to Switzerland, but realistically, it doesn't matter where you go in the world. There's no such thing as absolute free speech because somebody is always going to want to censor you. Um, and unless you completely decentralize a platform, like even something like Mastodon, which says it's decentralized and says it has, uber high security. It's just separate servers that some random person can moderate to their will, and they can see all your DMs, they can see all your private information, stuff like that. So until um, this is this is kind of why I like Elon and why I think they will kill him. If you don't know, T-Mobile. Do you live in the U.S., Ranger? Before I start spouting off U.S. based companies, please. Okay, so T-Mobile is a mobile service provider in America. Um, T-Mobile next next year, sometime in 2023. Hold on, let me look this up. T-Mobile Starlink. Uh, so basically, T-Mobile phones um, next year. Does it say when? I guess it doesn't say when, but they want to. Um, but yeah, so basically, T-Mobile is likely to be the first company to have consumer satellite connection. It'll start off with just text messages, um, but given how powerful Starlink already is for people like van life living and people out in super rural areas. My friend Juicy, let me see, where's she at? Uh, Juicy. Um, I was talking to her and I convinced her to get Starlink. She lives in Canada. Canada has basically a duopoly on internet providers. Um, Literally, two companies own all the internet you can get up there. Um, every time some smaller competitor comes along and starts offering um, competition, it doesn't really matter because the duopoly has control over the entire network, and then you have to rent bandwidth from that network. So I was like, if the internet is really that bad up there, it was terrible. She had like 700 millisecond ping. Um, the upload and download speeds weren't bad, but she had 700 millisecond ping. Um, I was like, if it's really that bad, get Starlink. I was like, there's no way it can be worse than that. And almost, it's something like, I don't know, maybe 10 times better. So when you look at something like that, and there's another company out there that's trying to do the same thing Starlink is doing. And who knows, maybe they'll network together with Starlink. But when you look at stuff like that and you realize, you know, not only are people getting high speed internet, no matter where they are, for the most part in North America now, not only do they have the possibility, but now people next year are going to be able to get, you know, service pretty much anywhere. So emergency service anywhere is a massive boom because there's places in the U.S. that are just desolate. You know what I mean? Like we have a giant desert. We have, you know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles of mountains that you can get lost in and stuff like that. And so when you have cell signal and you know that you can get cell signal, uh, and you can send text messages and you can get emergency calls out and stuff like that. Um, and you know that the network will prioritize your data over everybody else's to ensure that you're safe. Um, even if it only starts off with T-Mobile, as more and more companies want to bandwagon onto this, um, it kind of it becomes a threat to all these companies that have monopolies or duopolies or triopolies, whatever. They try to control the system for so long, and now you've got, you know, I don't know if you follow along like with the whole like Twitter files thing, but basically it turns out, Trump and Biden were both trying to censor speech, and they were like, take this down, and it turned out that Twitter had a huge like left leaning bias, and um, you look at all these things, and then you wonder, basically how it makes you wonder like how corrupt is everything, you know, when you realize the powers that be, even on both sides of the aisle, at least in America, they're like tech companies are too big, but nobody wants to touch the tech companies. And then all of a sudden, you've got some random guy from South Africa. Yeah, it acted on its own for its own interests, um, which isn't unusual. But when a company lies directly to members of Congress, and they're like, no, we don't censor speech based on political party, then you're like, dude, you can't lie under oath. Um, and you look at all these issues going on, and you're like, how much of this is caused by the systems we let run amok, right? Because now the most common complaint on Twitter is like, oh, I don't want to see these Republicans on my feed. Oh, I don't want to see these liberals on my feed. And it's like, good. You know, I'm glad that you can see it because it means the bubble's popped. It means that you're no longer in that little safe bubble that you wanted to be in. You're not in an echo chamber anymore. You're physically thrown into the town square. Um, and it kind of just makes you wonder, like how many governments use that to their benefit, and how many politicians and media experts and whatever use that to their, you know what I mean? Well, I mean, okay, so there is some legal precedence for the government intervening. Like, for instance, uh, how would I say this without getting banned off of Twitch? Kid related adult stuff, which ironically, Twitter had a massive problem of. There is a video of kid related adult stuff that was on Twitter, and it was up for over 6 years, and it had 10 million views, and it was reported thousands of times, and Twitter had done nothing. And so, you know, you look at stuff like that, and you're like, you know, who? Who's to blame for that? Because you can't not blame somebody for that. And then you get people, and they're like, they're they somehow find it offensive that's the main focus, and it's like that should be the main focus of any platform. Like, what was it? There was a study done in Germany. There was a study done in the U.S. There was a study done in Canada. There was a study done in New Zealand. There was a study done in Australia. Like, all these studies came out, and it turns out that, guess what? Instagram is causing young girls to be more suicidal. Like, social contagion is a thing, and people want to deny it for whatever their political views are. And you look at this, and it's like you see all these quote unquote Western countries, and they have. Uh, I'll get back to that in a second. Um, I'm going off on a tangent right now. But um, so you look at that, and you look at all this data, and it's like, okay, we know social media is bad. like you personally know social media is bad. You're looking through your feed and all of a sudden you see something you don't like and you're like, me, in the comments. And then you're like, why did I do that? I could have just muted or blocked that person. But it's like something in us, it's meant to trigger a reaction. And the whole algorithm is meant to get us to engage in that content. And in Twitter's case, hopefully over time it'll create a better civil discourse for everybody. But, you know, when you look at something on like Facebook or Instagram, and it's like you got my I had to delete my Instagram because I followed 3 people and I had something like 1,000 followers, just basically people I knew from school, people I knew from growing up. I didn't really use Instagram, but every once in a while I would get on there, go through my followers list, and because those are my friends and they follow me, um, I would check through it. But when I first started using Instagram, and I started using Instagram on like day 3 of its conception, um, so I'm one of the OGs. Um, when I started using Instagram, and maybe for like 5 years, it was always like travel pictures and pictures of food. You know what I mean? Like it was the common meme. It was like, but now when you go on there, it's like my whole feed in the what's it called, the Explore tab or whatever, the little search bar tab. It's nothing but like half naked women or half naked dudes if you scroll down far enough. And it's like, what is this algorithm? Why am I seeing this? And then it's even worse because it's not even how would I put this? It's not even real accounts that are posting stuff like that. It's like somebody will post something and you know what I mean? Like some random small no name account post a picture um of like themselves in a bathing suit. But like the rest of their account is like them going to church or them, having a life, right? But it's this big name account with like a couple million followers, and they repost like other people's images. Like it'll be um like big booty white women 69 or something like that. DM us for promos, stuff like that. And it's like, why does Instagram allow this? And I know why Instagram allows it. It's because they make money off of it. But, at the same time, you see stuff like that. And then you see data like, oh, look, all of this algorithm and all of this stuff, it's proven to be a detriment to society. You know what I mean? Um, I forgot. I went so completely far off tangent. I forgot how I was going to wrap back around to what we were. Oh, so um, nope, I did actually completely lose it. Um, but anyways, so social media is bad. I deleted it. Um, hopefully Twitter will get better over time. But yeah, it is actually illegal for the government to intervene through a private company. That is still illegal. Yes. Doesn't matter who does it. I'm not going to pick a side because the Twitter files also said that Trump did it. So that is illegal. Um, you don't have the right to remove anything. Doesn't matter if it's misinformation. Doesn't matter if you think it's hate speech. That is illegal. It is unconstitutional, and they should all be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And in my opinion, I think they should be barred from office ever again. Um, from any office. I don't care if it's the fucking post office. Um, because that's not American. That is the very antithesis of America. Never, um, never in my wildest fit of rage would I ever wish anyone to be silenced. I think that's also kind of what's wrong with today's society too, is people are so afraid to broach topics. Doesn't matter how difficult they are. People are so afraid to broach topics that they would much rather fight to censor someone than they would to actually change that person's mind. I would prefer social media doesn't exist at all. If it's not going to be unbiased, um, and its moderation policies, you know what I mean? Like you you can't look at something like Instagram and go, yeah, this is good for society. You know, ignoring censorship, ignoring anything like that. When so many countries have put out data, when I think it was Instagram itself, it's like you see an increase in like young teens being suicidal because they can't achieve something that literally some 40-year-old, some 50-year-old spent their whole life working towards. And now they get to enjoy their life because they busted their ass. And some teenager is being shown a picture of a pretty woman or a good looking dude, a good looking buff dude, you know, who now makes $100,000 a year. And you're like, you're 16. What are you, what are you so worried about? You, you don't even have a job yet. You don't even have a car yet. You still live with your parents, and you're upset that somebody that's 40, 50, 30, you know, maybe 25 is living a good life. They're exploring, they're on vacation, and you're not. What do you mean? Go smoke some weed. Fucking lose your virginity. You know what I mean? Like, and all these reports come out, and it's like social media increases depression, and it increases anxiety, and it increases people wanting to commit suicide, um, because it glamorizes life, and it keeps you in this tiny little yeah. And it doesn't help that you know the majority of our population in America lives in concrete jungles. There was a study that came out 10 years ago now, and it was basically like they were doing brain studies on the effects of being in nature, like taking somebody who's always lived in a city for the most part, like spent like maybe 90% of their life in a city, and they went to take them to something like a national park or something like that, and they said that the dopamine that they received was something like 10 times more dopamine than they had ever received in their life. Um, these people were happier, they wanted to be healthier, they felt more motivated, you know, they slept better, you know what I mean? And it's like, I think cities can be beneficial if they're, uh, let me hold on. Let me go on my phone real quick. I'm gonna, shut up, Twitch. I don't need a Twitch recap. What's downloading? Stop downloading. Oh, it's Google Maps. Images. What is it? Earth's beauty. You, 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 you. I think you're concept art. I think you're real. You, you, you. Um, hold on. Let's see. So, so if our cities looked like this in America, um, or we had towns that looked more like this, like they were more cultural hubs. I think this is an Italian city. It looks Italian to me. Maybe Greece. Nah, this is Italian brickwork and stonework. Um, but I'm sure, like you being a European citizen, you would be able, you know what I mean? Like you look at this and you're like, yeah, that brings me comfort. It might be tightly packed and it might be loud and it might be noisy, but you know how to fit into this system. And there's greenery and there's plants and there's a certain community if you live in this type of area. And then, even cities like this, where you've got this amazingly beautiful architecture, um, or cities like this, you know, this is a modern city. It's a Western city. You look at this city and you're like, oh, okay, that's a that's a city. But you look at a city like this and you realize they live in a place with a lot of sun. They live in a place that has a lot of greenery throughout the city. Just looking through it, they have massive open oceans. Um, Ocean air actually has been proven to have larger benefits. It might be Rio de Janeiro. I don't know where it is. I just have this picture, this folder. Um, this is Switzerland. This is a tiny little town. This is Spain. This is Spain. But I mean, so like they have roads, and their cities are really tightly packed together. But it's not just concrete skyscrapers, glass and metal and concrete. I think this is conceptual art. No, this is actually uh, Kyoto. This is Japan. I think this is conceptual art. And then, you know, in other places, you have houses that look like this. This is some monastery. Uh, why do I not? I don't remember the name of any of these monastery pictures. Uh, and then you look at cities in America, and it's like, why do you think people are so um why are people so depressed? And it's like, well, you pack 5 million people into a city that looks like garbage, and you know, it not only does it look like garbage, it functions like garbage. You know, New York City is the prime example. Everybody wants to go there because they have these starry-eyed dreams, and then you get there, and it is a city that has no life. You know what I mean? Like, unless you're in the richer areas, it has zero life. Everybody looks defeated. Everybody walks through New York City with their head down. You know, um, even when it snows, the snow turns black after a couple hours. And it's just like, if we had, if our cities looked, more along the lines of something like this, or our towns look more like this, people would understand what it means to build a community. Because a community is what brings everything together, right? It doesn't matter whether you're online, it doesn't matter whether you're in real life, it doesn't matter, whether you're in a video game and you build a smaller community in that video game, like a guild or whatever, or what are they called? Like, or a faction, or whatever. When you when you're able to build something with other people, it's what keeps you coming back to that game. Um, that's pretty much why I haven't given up on Kenshi, because I built a community. I don't think there's much reason for people to live on the coast anymore. Right, but it's, well, okay, so in America, yes, there is. Um, to live on the coast anymore, but there's also no jobs in it. Okay, so in America, yes, there is, because of climate stability. Um, basically, what it comes down to, uh, map of the U.S. So, quick, quick, quick fact check. Let's see. Open, open image in a new tab. Save image as. Not a fucking GIF. Why do I need a GIF? A GIF. A GIF. Why the fuck is it a? Oh, because it's bitch. Just saved you for nothing. I just want one solid map. Okay. Open image in a new tab. Save image as. It's a JPEG. Sweet. Okay. Um, edit image. Edit. Um, oh, I crashed it. Let's not go back. Markup? Yeah, sure. That's fine. Okay. So, red. Like this area and this area is like the mountains, right? And let me make sure you're following along. So, what you have is, let's do dark blue. So, you have a giant sea current that goes like this, and uh, you have stable ish waters here, and then you have a sea current that goes like this. So, that keeps winds here. Um, like this. So this area here is like all of our farmland. And then what you have down here is a desert. So, and then you have let me see, then you have the northerly winds and rains, and they come like this. So, I guess not green, let's do black. So, this area here is pretty much all farmland. It's literally the richest farmland in the world if we could take care of it. Of course, all of our farming practices are destroying it, but that's neither here nor there for the sake of the argument. The reason people live along the coast is temperature and climate stability. Um, and, let me see, because of, where you at? Because of this motherfucker. Where is he at? Starts here, goes somewhere down here, and then comes out here. Maybe it's here. Um, so basically, this is the Mississippi River, by the way. So what we can do is, because this, because it starts up here or what the fuck ever, wherever the Mississippi River starts, this gives us unprecedented travel, um, and the ability to basically ship everything inland instead of going, all the way down, which would take a hell of a lot of effort. We can ship everything inland with air, and then all of it just goes out into the river, or down the river, and then it goes over to fucking the UK or over here to Canada, or that's why we have a giant cultural center right here, and then they can go up to Canada. Um, Obviously, my drawings and everything are amazing. Shut the fuck up. But so with the mountains, being wherever the fuck they are in this general area, here, here, with the mountains being here, that protects all of this inland, because the cold air is going to come down and it's going to blow this way, and it's going to trap all of the hot air. I should have done this in a different color. It's going to trap all the hot air coming up, like this, and it creates, ironically, a natural barrier along this area. And of course, Louisiana is just a fucking shithole. Um, its weather is garbage. Um, Ironically, a beautiful place to live, but garbage weather. Um, but it creates it. The United States of America is so geographically powerful. Yeah, don't disrespect them swamps. Uh, because of how it's formed. To the north is sharp coldness. To the south is sharp heat, and that creates this natural blanket. Most of up north, the rains and the winds blow any loose particles and uh, soil particulates, and a lot of these rivers up here, they drain down into our farmland, um, because most of this area is like a giant basin, and so what you have, um, sadly, it used to be more like this, but then so yes, but Central America doesn't have the farming capacity that the United States does. Geographically, because it's such a small area, it gets bombarded. Like even Mexico to some extent gets bombarded because there's nothing protecting the inner workings of the continent or of the country. Central U.S. Okay, yeah, 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 yeah. That is correct. The Mississippi River, you have literally a river that spans from the top of the U.S., almost the entire top of the U.S., to the entire south of the U.S. that comes out into a protected port, down here. So they don't have to worry about, you know, it's why so much of our trade goes through the Mississippi River and comes out near New Orleans. Shut up. Yeah, people from California moving to Austin. Here's hoping, you know, they don't. Here's hoping they don't try and change the state blue, considering they're moving there because of its policies. My friend I was talking about earlier lives in Florida. Uh, she's for context, she's trans, and she is so into politics. It is mind fucking boggling. Like she can like talk about like percentages and poll numbers and estimations and all of that shit. And I just look at her and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm the kind of person where like I can read a law and then go, this will have this, this will have this likely effect. Um, or oh, this is a bad law. Austin is pretty blue. Yeah, it is. It is pretty blue, but that's also why it has the highest crime in the state. Um, but IDK, what people are leaving California for Texas? Well, it comes down to basically regressive tax policies. Um, that's the that's the basics of it. But when you look at it, it's homelessness. Um, it's policies, it's taxes, you know, um, it's hard to want to leave California because it's such a beautiful state. If you can get away from the cities, but that doesn't necessarily mean that those policies aren't going to affect you just because you don't live in the cities. Because sadly, that whole state is blue, short of a couple red, counties. I think they have a couple red counties, or maybe it's cities. But you know, there's not a lot of balance there. I hate for the most part, I hate people who identify by party because I think it's such a stupid and toxic way to see the world. I think everyone has a to some extent. I think most everyone has a viewpoint that should be listened to. Like I have a I met a friend on Twitter and he's like hardcore socialist, which is not at all my politics. But he's also like hardcore libertarian and he doesn't assign like an ideology to what he believes are good policies. He assigns like a moral perspective, a financial perspective, and then like a logical perspective. And so he's not afraid to take like criticism and discuss things with somebody who, you know, the quote unquote left would believe is, an evil human being because they voted Republican or whatever. Um, yeah, dumb farming practices. What also doesn't help that California is unreasonably hot. Los Angeles, doesn't exactly help. What the fuck was I saying? Oh yeah, don't be hardcore partisanship. Because it's stupid. But yeah, California also has a financial issue. Instead of picking the most logical conclusion, they look at a problem and they're like, how much money can we throw at something to fix it? When instead they should have just thought about it beforehand. You know what I mean? Like, don't ban gas cars, by 2035 or whatever, if your electric grid can't even handle electric cars. Or like um, another thing. Uh, so recently they started offering homeless people cash, basically just cash. And it's like you're incentivizing people to live on the street. It comes with no requirements or little to no requirements. You're just incentivizing people. So dumb. Oh yeah, the pork policy. Yep, yep. I saw that. I remember reading an article about that. They were like the politicians there were something like, they were like, yeah, big pork is, they're lobbying against us, and big pork was like, no, we're just telling you that like farmers can't afford these facilities, so the latest police to tax energy. Yeah, yeah. You want to know what the most mind blowing thing I found out about California is, did you know there's oil pumps in LA? Like you'll never know they're there, but there's oil pumps in LA, and they're everywhere in LA. Hold on. No. I mean, like if you're walking down like a main, like say you're in like the middle city, um, the middle of the city in LA, and you're walking down like a main street. Some of those buildings, they're fake. They're completely fake buildings. The outside and everything is like painted and made to look like a real building, but inside the building, when you open the door, is just a giant oil pump. There's something like 1,000 plus oil pumps in LA. I think it's still like a super high number. And it's like some of these pumps are literally like next door to a school or next door to like daycare centers or next next door to like elderly care or you know uh for instance there's one that's right next to what I guess you would call it a ghetto, and it's just like what the what the fuck. Like that's the kind of stupid policy, like they're just smack dab in the middle of the goddamn city. And it's funny because not even a lot of people who live in LA know that, you know what I mean? Because I think some of the pumps they have like on the inside of the fake buildings they have like sound deadening stuff. So unless you're like you walk up to the door of each house, yeah. No, it's not a violation of city planning because they've been there for the last like 100 years. Let me see. Uh, fake buildings, oil drilling, LA. 4 oil wells hidden in plain sight. Let me see. This is must be the Cardiff Tower. Okay, Packard well site are hidden all over Los Angeles. Some more cleverly than others. Tower of Hope, Packard well site. This is got a big one. Built in 1967. It's just a giant oil pump. Beverly Center. Maybe it's talking about this, or maybe this. From the top of the mall's parking garage, you can scope the site's full expanse. It's right next to a mall. Tower of Hope, Beverly Hills High. It's next to a high school. And Cardiff Tower as a synagogue. They, they disguised it as a synagogue. Is home to 40 wells. That's wild. That is wild. Oh, I forgot I brought snacks. Yeah, man. California's a wild, wild, wild place. How much money? Not bad. Do you know about the? Do you know about the poop app? I can't believe I even have to ask somebody that, but the poop app, human feces tracker. Welcome to San Francisco shit now. Wait, is it not going to update anymore? How far do I have to scroll in? Oh, it's not updating. They got this person got a cease and desist from the city of San Francisco, and they told San Francisco to go fuck themselves. Why is it not? No, I dropped a gummy. There we go. I'm not even gonna click on them because yeah, you can tell where all the drug addicts are. It's in the main goddamn city. Yeah, there are pictures. And this picture, I think. Some guy from Europe posted on Reddit. Let me see. Um. Oh, sorry. No, I was. Some guy came from Europe, and it ties into the point. Um. We were just talking about. The post is kind of long, but I feel like it'd be a good read. Which one is this? No. I have so much shit on my phone. I just need to sort through. Fact checkers be like, this is a lie, but it's actually true. Where the fuck is? Maybe it's under. Who checks the checkers? Am I right? So true. Okay, here we go. Uh, this was posted in r/Los Angeles by the real Banksy Whoosh, European who is visiting LA and the US for the first time. I'm shocked and I really need to vent. That's the title. I'm visiting LA and the USA in general for the first time, and as I'm attending a scientific conference this week, honestly, I'm shocked. I did not expect this. Let me start with some positive things. Americans are remarkably friendly. Many people go out of their way for you and try to help you out if you need help with something. I've already had numerous of kind, warm conversations that felt very honest. Many young people are progressive, want a better world, and are doing volunteer work for the community. And it is awesome that interesting musea, like the Museum for Contemporary Art and the Broad, can be visited for free. There is not a single reason for art to be inaccessible for underprivileged, and LA gets that. The last bookstore is great, and the food is extraordinary. I really enjoyed the Central Market Square. Definitely hit me up with more tips. I'm sure there's a lot of great stuff to do, but it is not all positive. Not at all. My hotel is in downtown LA, the Intercontinental. I cannot count the people with psychosis that I've seen the last couple of days, talking with themselves in the mirror, being very unpredictable in behavior, drunk and high. So many homeless and poor people, 5, 6 tents under each bridge. 2 cops were touching a guy with their feet to see if he was dead or just sleeping. Trash, feces, and piss everywhere. I thought it was a good idea to take the metro to Santa Monica and return with the last one so I wouldn't have to take a car, but in the metro, several people were looking at me like they were assessing if they could rob me. Women were harassed verbally and looked glassy eyed in order to not provoke anyone. I've never felt this unsafe in my life. Although I'm 26, I visited over 30 countries, many which were low or middle income countries. I'm not sure if it is a good idea to wander alone through the streets of downtown LA at night. Meanwhile, the streets are full of $100,000 plus cars. I cannot grasp the staggering inequality in this country and how racially structured it is. Where is the government? Where is their effing responsibility? As if government can only exist of police officers. This is the result of deliberate choices masked as incompetence. The show must go on and taxes must remain low at all costs, it seems. In the back of my mind, the USA was quite similar to Europe, but this does not seem to be the case. It feels like a different world to me, one that feels quite dystopian. I've never experienced these things on such a scale, and it feels like politicians have never prioritized it. There is no equality at all, and some human lives seem to be worthless. It hurts me if I'm honest. How did it come this far? Are these problems specific to LA, or does this provide me a good image of other large American cities? Did it get worse in the last years? Is it better in other neighborhoods? How can this be solved? So this comes from, I don't remember where he's from, but he was from, if I recall, he was from a pretty left leaning country when he came here. So his idea of the world was one of progressivism, which, to be fair, has its benefits, has its merits, and generally has been positive for humanity overall. But it's always mind blowing to me when somebody comes in from a separate country and doesn't realize that uniquely, um, cities, states, um, even unions of different states are all governed completely differently. Um, and it's funny because he's looking at this city as if it's a representation of America as a whole. Um, and then he asks, is it a representation of America as a whole? Which, of course, it's not. But it is a good representation of blue cities, um, for the most part. There is somebody did a good article on this. There is a certain point in which progress progressive policies become regressive, as in you can progress so far and push so hard that you eventually start to eat your own policies alive, right? Um, and it's stuff like that you know, right? But the issue isn't even gun violence, right? Because if you want to talk guns, you have to again talk policy. You have to again talk mentality. You have to again talk problems. You look at those blue cities where, or you look at any city where, not even just blue cities, but red cities too, and you look at those cities and you have to realize, one, there's outside influence. There's a lot of external gangs that run, you know, large portions of the cities, drugs, guns, um, and then on top of that, then you have to look at spending. Um, like the Los Angeles Police Department makes something like $1.2 billion a year, um, but they have, and they have something like maybe 30 police stations in Los Angeles. But then you hear that and you think, oh, wow, 30 police stations in Los Angeles. But that's like saying That's like for something you might know. Um, that's like saying 30 police stations in a city the size of Greece, or in a city the size of Athens. Not Greece. Greece is a country. Um, you know, and you hear that and you immediately go, "Oh shit!" Athens is a really large city. It's not even the largest, by far, but it's a really large city. 30 police stations isn't enough, and maybe there's more police stations. I don't, I'm not. And then you look at how the city is structured, um, and the poor will always stay poor, and the rich will always stay rich because there's a hard divide between, you know, those people. And like LA has massive sprawling suburbs, and some of them are poor neighborhoods, and others are rich neighborhoods. And you look at the difference, and some have privatized security, some have, you know what I mean, like. And so then what's the problem? More people want to move there, more people want to live there. You want to give, affordable housing. Well, of course, it's always the rich people who have a problem with um, uh, it's always the rich people who have a problem with, you know, erecting an apartment building in the middle of a suburb. Uh, that was just bad connection. It looks like it dropped there for a minute. It also could just be the way I was talking. So you have hard lines in something like LA, just because we're talking about LA. You have hard lines between wealthy and poor, and then you look at how you would want to bridge that divide, and of course, it is the wealthy who are like, you know, let's let them fix their neighborhood, and you're like, but they need your help, and we need to get people off the streets, and it's of course the rich who go, and they're like, oh, I dropped again. Um, but it's the rich who are like, let's not erect an apartment building here. Let's not, you know, build a community center here. Let's build it somewhere else. And it's like, oh, but we would have to destroy the poor's housing. You can afford to lose your summer home. Suburbs are so here's the real issue. It isn't even that living in cities is bad. It's the overall policy on construction in the US that is bad. Um, somebody had a really good uh, video on this, and I'll send it to you if I remember what it is. But basically, one, the way our cities are built are stupid. We have basically a combination of streets and roads, um, and that's not even counting highways, which go directly through our cities. That's dumb. Um, of course, it's kind of too late to replan them now. Um, but right, right. But there's also the fact that overall, the way our city planning is done and the way our, at least in the US, the way our, not only our city planning, but the way our construction planning and zoning is done is like in cities, it's, I mean, it's not illegal, but you will never get planning permission to build like a 3-story townhouse next to a skyscraper. Of course, you would never want to do that because, you know, but you can't build like small communities. Um, there's a community north of me, and the streets are streets. They're one-way streets, and they're separated by a large grassy knoll. Um, and you have shops on the bottom, and then you have houses on the top. And that community is a super tight knit community. They have shops, they have a grocery store kind of nearby, they have a gas, or not a gas station, they have like a convenience store, they have a convenience store nearby, um, stuff like that. And if we took that kind of planning into account and we left like the inner city for like large businesses or whatever, then I think that overall our city planning would be better because you would have more mom and pop shops. You would have more, uh, you know, you would have more incentive to build a shop. You would have a local community to support you. Um, and wow, I dropped a lot of packets there. Looking at my stream right now, I dropped a lot of packets right there. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Um, but yeah, so it all comes down to like we need, well, honestly, what we need to do, one, we need to de-bloat the federal government. That's first and foremost. If it isn't constitutional and it doesn't benefit everyone everywhere, no, you can't pass it. No, you don't get a law. No, you don't get a bigger spending budget. No, we're not going to fund another country's war. No, we're not going to, you know, pass a dumb law that you shouldn't have any control over anyways. Um, like it, okay, so here's, I don't know if you've been following American politics whatsoever. So the Senate proposed a bill recently, and it's called like the Marriage Equality Act or something like that. Of course, on the surface, you hear the name and you think, "Oh, okay, that's good," and then you realize our government's so goddamn corrupt. Of course, they put other things in the bill. They just crammed it full of things. It couldn't just be about equality. No, so my issue with the bill, um, my issue with the bill is I don't think the government should have any say in who gets married. You know, whether you're gay, straight, whatever. I don't think they have a say in it at all. I don't think the government should be in the business of validating your marriage, your union, or denying you a union. Uh, because I don't think that's something the government should have the right to govern. Of course, when some people hear that, they go, "Oh my God, you must be a bigot," and it's like, no, I don't. I don't care who marries who's dating who, whatever. I don't think the government should have the ability to tax you on your marriage, or tell you who you can marry, or tell you who you can date, or basically your personal relationship should be covered under the fuck what amendment is it? The right to privacy, U.S. U.S. What fucking amendment is it? So, um, privacy of lease, privacy of home, privacy of person, property. Um, what is this? 9. Without due process of law. I guess technically this doesn't apply. But my belief is that there should be an amendment that says the government cannot govern who you can marry, cannot govern who you can date, and cannot tax you for those reasons. They cannot give you, um, see, like this, the Tyrone Garner and John Lawrence. Um, I don't know who they are in this picture, but like, it says the gay men who successfully challenged Texas's sodomy law, right? Like, there's no there's no reason any state or the federal government should have the ability to regulate who you're with, who you love, you know what I mean? And then you look at, um, there was an amendment. One of the amendments is like interracial marriage is legal, but it should have never been illegal in the first place because there's no reason for it to be illegal. Like my thing is like I guess I guess the simplest way to define it would be there should be a amendment for the right to privacy. Um, which I guess technically is in this. Um, privacy of the home, no soldier shall in time of peace. Okay. Privacy of the person and possessions. Secure the right of the people to be secure in their possession, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. Okay, so I guess that technically doesn't apply either. This one kind of believe makes kind of because if marriage is a religious institution, then the government can't touch it. But because technically not everybody recognizes as marriage as a religious institution, that means that the government has the freedom to regulate it. But anyway, so long story short, I guess what I'm saying is like instead of introducing a new act, which of course can be repealed, um, what should be offered is a hardcore amendment to the Bill of Rights. You add to it the right of privacy. Um, disparage others retained by the people. Disparage others retained by the people. Retained by the people? Held by the people? The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Would that apply? I mean, by all technical definitions, it's very vague, but Maybe it should be rewritten. Very weird. There's one lady in Japan. She married a cloth guy, and she said that her, and I quote, relationship was hanging on by a thread because she caught him cheating, which I thought was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Messaging me. What do I want to do? I guess upload this and see. I gotta open up Edge again, don't I? No, shut the fuck up, Edge. Shut the fuck up. I hate you, Edge. I despise you. If it wasn't for the fact that introducing guest star, okay, got it. Introducing chat highlights. I'm pretty sure I already enabled that. Suspicious user. First time chat, at mention, moderator, VIP subscriber. Yeah. Um, I don't really want to do anything on this game. Alright, I'll be back in like an hour, I guess. We'll do some Kenshi streaming. Start working on the ruins, libraries, and stuff like that. Life's so much simpler without rights and amendments like in Kenshi. Yeah. Yep, yep, yep. Yeah, I'll be back in like an hour ish.